buzz rolls. So the first thing I want to mention about playing buzz rolls is when I introduce these to my beginners, the first thing I do for them is I just play the buzz roll for them. As soon as you play a buzz roll and you demonstrate for the students what they're working towards, it makes them go, oh, I want to do that. Right? So the first thing you do is just play them a buzz roll and you say, okay, that's what we're trying to do. Now this is how you do it. And this is how I introduce it to my students. And I say this in the handout that I introduced this concept pretty early on. And I just start by having them hold with the thumb and pointer finger. We use this as our beginning fulcrums, okay? And I just have them do just their right hand, so don't even worry about the left hand. I say, okay, make it, I don't explain very much either. That's the main thing, is a lot of times teachers talk too much like I'm doing right now, and I just demonstrate it, right? And I just get them to do this. Now, as they're doing this, don't say what you're doing. Just make sure that they're throwing it. This is the key. Most of the times when people struggle with buzzes, it's because they're holding on with their back three fingers or their back fulcrum. And you can do this with me if you're watching with sticks. Just hold it with your thumb and pointer finger and just do this, okay? And what I do is I say, okay, watch me. Okay, now you guys do it. And then you get one of two things. You either get this or you get this. Sometimes you get a perfect buzz, but usually it's either this or this. If it's this, I say, hey, you're getting the ba-ba-ba, which is great, but you need to get to the z part of the buzz sooner. So do that. And I don't tell them what to do. Just this takes a little bit of experimentation, okay? If it's too short, you just say, make sure that their back three fingers aren't touching the stick. Check the buzz like that, okay? Once they can do that, I say, okay, now watch me do 4, make them sound like this. And the whole point of this is, teachers, don't be afraid to reiterate this to your students, which is just make it look and sound like me, okay? So I go like this, 2, 3, 4, and then you say, okay, now you try 4 buzzes, and you're trying to get them to sound all the same. You say, okay, make it sound like mine. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you do that once or twice. You say, okay, good, good, good. Even if it's not great, you say, okay, good. You want to be encouraging in the beginning. Try your left hand now. Thumb, point your finger like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they do 4, and then you do 4. Okay, and then you say, okay, now check this out. As I'm doing this, and then usually students will be wearing long sleeves or sweatshirts. You say, hey, pull up your sleeves for a second, and I want you to watch my wrist as I'm doing this. Tell me what you notice about my wrist as I'm doing this, right? And then you get some context, and you guys can throw out in the comments over here, what do you notice about my wrist as I'm playing this? And people are gonna say, well, you're not bending your wrist, you're using arm. And that's the second big concept that I wanna share with you today, is most of the time we spend so many hours telling students, hey, use your wrist, use your wrist, use your arms. And this is another reason why I introduced this early on. We show that, hey, there is wrist and there is arm. It just depends on the application. So you're trying to get them to do this without bending their wrist. You want them to be using their arm. You want to be using their arms, okay? So fast forwarding here, once you're able to get them to do it, the first exercise that's in this handout, I call them duple buzz rolls. Number 1, ISO buzzes, or isolated buzzes. Okay, and let me just play the exercise for you. It looks like this. Oh, guys, I feel the rain coming. We might have to cut this lesson short. I might have to relocate downstairs, but here we go. So the exercise goes like this: 4 buzzes in each hand. Repeat a second time. Third measure, and then a bar. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Thanks, Mark. 3, 4. Third measure. The rain's coming, guys. 1. This might go down as the funniest lesson of the sessions because you're going to see Huei get rained out in the middle of this lesson.